Hello and welcome to episode 36 of Missed Mando, Ontario's source for the latest in the disc golf world. I'm your host, Sean Galbraith, joined by, you're not Robbie or Galen, joined by Colleen Mcinnes, special guest host tonight on the show. The boys are unfortunately unavailable. They've got better things to do, apparently. So I'm going to roll solo with this, aided by my friend Colleen Mcinnes, and this will surely be the all-time best episode of the show because the other guys are not here. Now, last week, we had some technical and scheduling issues for interviews, so we didn't have one at all. We seem to have sorted those out, and so we're just going to jump right into our first interview with my wonderful co-host here. Our first guest tonight needs no introduction, but I'm doing one anyway. Since the last time she was on the show in July, way back in episode 12, she got a bit of a Missed Mando bump and immediately won her following two tournaments to bring her to a season total of 6 wins and added second place finishes at both Canadian Nationals and Ontario Provincials before helping Canada get the bronze medal at WIFDIF World Team Championships down in Australia. So far in 2025, she's won 4 of her 7 events, including the last 3 tournaments, which were the Christie Lake Spring Fling, the Black Fly Fling, and most recently the Dieppe Open, which was her 5th FPO A-tier title. And on the most recent update, she is now only 1 point shy of her previous high, which was carded back during the COVID era in September 2020. It is an absolute pleasure to welcome back to the Missed Mando podcast, the pride of Burlington, Ontario, Colleen Mcinnes. Welcome.
Thank you so much. What an introduction. Thank you.
We always have super fun writing these. So last time you were on, in the Canadian tournaments you've played, you had a single third and a 4th finish, and everything else was 1st or 2nd place. So the important question, how much of your success do you attribute to being on Missed Mando the last time? And please feel free to lie if necessary, and I assume it will be necessary.
Oh, 100%. Definitely all thanks to the pod. Can't tell you how honored I am to be a friend of the pod. It's
100%.
It's a huge honor. Yeah, and I attribute all my success, obviously, to you guys, because I don't have any kind of title sponsorship. So I feel like I am sponsored by your love, and that's what matters.
We're going to have to talk. Maybe you're going to be the first Miss Mando's first sponsored player. It will come with absolutely no perks or any money, but maybe like a hat or a T-shirt or something.
A crisp high five.
Solid fist bump, at least. Yeah. So, let's go. So you've had so many events since the last time you were on, but let's talk about a couple milestones here. So, WIFDIF, you went down to Australia as part of Team Canada. This was your 2nd time playing for Team Canada, I believe. You went to Croatia in 2022.
Yes.
So how did it come about playing on Team Canada? How did you like the experience of putting on the flag? Do you enjoy the format of that tournament? Because it's different than just stroke play, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was I got an email because they have for a while now been emailing the top pros, like top rated people in Canada, and giving them an invitation. And it's not as many people as you would think, right? You send out like 6 or 8 emails and you probably get the 2 people that you need for MPO and the 1 master and the 2 FPOs or whatever. So it's not a whole lot of people that get to go, which it's a big honor. And I had gotten the email and thought, like, a while back when I had first heard about it, like, oh, maybe I'll get high enough rated, maybe I'll crawl up there, and eventually did. It's every 2 years, so it's kind of you gotta try and work your way to be able to be the person that they choose. So this year we're lucky enough to have Sophia and Thomas going to the World Games, which is really cool. And then next year we'll go to Lithuania. But Australia this last year was amazing. We didn't have as many people as Croatia, as many teams. I think it was just a few shy, but it was a qualifying event for World Games, so it was a big deal to perform well and to get that spot secured. We were well on our way. I don't know exactly how they weigh it, but it's past performances as well, and Canada has done very well in all the team worlds that we've done. But yeah, the format is crazy. It's doubles and singles, and it's dependent on what your spot is. So when you're ranked on the team, it's based on rating. And when we went into play this, like when we submitted our team, not when we actually got to Australia, it was based on when you submitted, who was in what spot. So, things might have changed once we were there in November, but that was the person who was there. So I think it was Casey and then Max and then Thomas. So Casey would have been MPO 1, and then Max MPO 2, and then Thomas MPO 3. And then Sophia was FPO 1 and I was FPO 2. And then when we play, you have to have a certain amount of people playing. So there was 3 MPOs, 2 FPOs, and a Masters. So there was always 6 people on our team playing. And then 2 cards. So you'd have a doubles and a single, and then a doubles and a single. And you'd play against the same country as the other card. It'd just be 6 against 6, just 2 separate cards. So there is a filmed round out there if anyone wants to go watch it. But I think it happened to be a card where me and Sophia were on the same card and we didn't get filmed. So it's 3 of the guys being filmed, which I know, not as fun. The FPOs are way more fun to watch, but still like really cool that anyone came to film at all. So each country not each country, but some countries got one of their rounds filmed and just happened to fall on a day. And then that kind of lines up with what the matchups are. So we don't choose who we're putting together. It's already pre-selected. Like MPO 1 is playing with MPO 3 and MPO 2 is playing with FPO 1. And then the Masters player and the FPO 2 are playing playing solo in the other matches. So it just depended on the day. And then we've had quite a few times with Team Canada where we've ended up in ties. And last time we went to Croatia, it ended in a tie with Finland for 3rd place. We played all our matches. We tied overall. And each matchup, there was like a tiebreaker selected. So depending on who the player was, and it happened to be my spot. So I had to play against one girl to represent our whole country to win the medal or not, which was highly stressful. So I thankfully came out and won, and we won bronze that year. And then this last year we had multiple ties. So we ended up tying with Finland again. And I think it was Max played that playoff. And so again, it's whoever on that day. So it happened to be MPO 2. And so he did the playoff and he won. And then we tied again with Australia in the semifinals. And it was heartbreaking with Stu's putt. Everyone's seen that. That would have, if he had made that putt, he would have won his match instead of tying it. And then we would have gotten the extra point to push us over to winning instead of tying against them. And so unfortunately that putt, and then we had a playoff and unfortunately didn't win it. And then, but we still ended up going to the consolation. So we ended up playing for 3rd, and that was good. So we brought home the bronze again and finished solidly, I think. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I got injured a whole bunch while I was out there.
That's fun.
I mean, typical. And it was funny because when I got hurt, I had slipped on some rocks on one of the holes, and it was the last match, the very end. I was like 5 or 6 holes left, and we were winning. So we just had to finish a few more holes to finish out the round. And I slipped and like cut my knee open so bad it was like gushing blood. And then nobody had anything. And I was the only person who had a first aid kit. And it's because I get injured so much. Out in my bag. And it was weird because I guess they don't have polysporin in Australia. They just have like, it's like a gel to keep it moist. They don't have like an antiseptic liquid like cream like that. So I was lucky I had any of that too, because that helped it like heal a little bit. And then my knee was pretty healed, and a few days later we went to Rottnest Island to see the quokkas, and I fell. We were biking, and it was a bike issue, and the bike kind of got me pinched off because the seat turned, and then I fell and I scraped my knee again, the same knee, and then scraped my toes. So I have some nice scars from Australia. I was like limping through the airport when we went home.
Everybody knows that everything on Australia is designed to try and kill you. So disc golf should be no exception to that. So how many countries did you end up playing against, and how did you do against them personally?
Oh yeah. So it was interesting. The first we bought 4 women. So it was a good rotation throughout the first 2 days of like there would be like 4 matches. So like playing 4 different countries the first, or 3 I think the first day, and then 2 more the next day, and then one of the playoff finals. So it was like kind of a rotation of who was playing. I don't know. Craig's the team captain. I don't know how he chooses, but it was more so to give everyone time to rest and all that. I know Sophia didn't play the first match because she had like flown in the night before, the day before.
Ooh.
So I think it was the morning before or something. So she had like played the course. She wasn't like going in that blind, but it was just to give her like a walk around as well, because she hadn't gotten that acclimated. She was already in Australia. It was just like the connecting flight coming over. So she had a little bit of time to get used to the time zone. But so I played, so long ago now too. I played 2 of the matchups, I think. And I can't for the life of me remember what countries I played anymore, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of like, if you weren't playing, you were walking with them anyways. And so everyone was kind of at every match caddying for someone or just walking around, just to keep the morale up. So everyone and we had a bunch of extra people, like I said. So it was like, you'd have like little hordes of people going around, and Craig just hanging out, doing like the cards for us and making sure we had everything, and trying to scheme and plan for what we were going to do. And it was, I don't think any of us played as well as we wanted to, because a lot of what happened was we were doing more poorly than we thought we would, and losing a few matchups that we thought we'd get. And we had a particularly difficult pool with regards to the teams you get put with. And some teams, like I said, they have their own ranking system. So like, I think we were ranked like second or third or something like that, or we were really high up there. And so they go like a snake kind of thing. And so we were one of the first teams in our pool. And then everyone gets ranked differently, which is interesting because it's based on your past performances. And if you didn't send a team before, or you have like all of a sudden your pro players are starting to come or whatever. And so there was like really challenging teams in our pool. And it ended up being, I think when we finished our division, we ended up 4th, and it was the top 4 out of 6 go on. And then we ended up having to play Finland. And that was the match that I mentioned where we ended up tying them and having to do a playoff to win that. So that was like, it was a big challenge. I think that was the one that I might have been partnered. I think I was partnered with Sophia that round. And I think we tied the girls that we played And it just ended up like some of our matches tied, like one of the singles was tied and one of the doubles was tied or something like that. And it just, or both doubles tied. And then both singles, the other team, like either team won. So it was evenly split. So that, that playoff that we had was really important for Max to win. But, then the finals as well. Like we played Australia and they were wonderful. Like they were great. I think I played, oh, it's so hard to remember. I think I played with Thomas that round and it was crazy. We were down by 2 and then we had 3 holes left. And so it's basically like you need to win every single hole to finish out. And in those final matches, like the first round robin where we get placed ranked in the top 4 go on, that's only 9 holes. When you go on to like the sudden death matches, if you lose, you're out, right? So you play 18 instead. And it goes to like a push. So like if we had lost the next hole, we would be dormy. And then if we lose 2 holes in a row, then we're out, like the match ends. So we had 3 holes left and we ended up winning all 3 of them, which was really exciting. Like our whole team had come over to like see what happened. And I think right when we were finishing, Stu was also finishing. And so it was like kind of half the people were here and there and all this was happening. And me and Thomas ended up on this one hole that's so difficult. I think it's hole 2 on the world's course. And you have to go down this tight tunnel. And he forehanded it perfectly down there. And he got me into a spot that was like, oh man, if I had a forehand, this would be the easiest shot in the world. But I don't. But I couldn't. There was a Mando tree and he was like right behind it. And he was in and everything. But you had to stretch out like a patent pending to throw the backhand, and it was just impossible with the way the tree was. So I was like, I have to forehand. And I ended up getting it, like, it was such a good forehand. It was the best forehand I've ever thrown. And I was like in the circle, and by the time I forehanded, they still had an opportunity if I didn't get close enough. But once I parked in the circle, it wasn't like parked or anything, but it was in the circle, and they knew they had to try and go for it because Thomas was going to make that putt. And we ended up picking up and winning that match. And it was so exciting because then the whole team's like going, like freaking out. And we're like, what happened? And they're like, oh, we tied. Like that means this. And Stu just finished his. And they're like texting each other to find out. And like, it was great. And then
doing the math.
Yeah. And then but I mean, we ended up losing that playoff, but it was good that we at least had the fighting opportunity to get in there. And yeah. And like I said, we still got to go to the consolation finals and we still ended up winning and coming third. And that was like, I mean, that's huge to be able to bring home a medal. So that was very exciting.
So it sounds like maybe you do have a bit of a forehand.
Well, me and Brooklyn have been working on it in the sections we do. So Oz gave me a few lessons and she gave me some tips. And then I went to New Brunswick and I went to Karen Martell, had a clinic with Rose. I know it's an S. Sure. I'm so sorry, Rose. But with Rose, she's from the States and she came up to play. She's from Maine. So they did a clinic and taught me a few forehand tricks too. And that worked when I was playing that tournament in Maine, in New Brunswick. So when I came back, I was sharing that with Brooklyn and like, so they said, turn your knee like this. Like, it's great. So she's got a way better forehand already than me, but I think,
work in progress.
Oh man, I was talking to her about a power grip because she doesn't even power grip and she's clearing a soccer field.
Whoa.
So it's like, I don't know how, watch out. She's like so young. I don't know how she's doing that, but Ontario's in trouble. She just played her first FPO tournament too. So very exciting.
Wow. It's a bold strategy for Karen to teach her competitor in the tournament that was about to happen how to throw better. Not usually my go-to strategy, but nobody ever asks, so hasn't really come up before.
Maybe we just love each other more. But they didn't have a choice. They were running a clinic, and I was like in our house. We had an Ontario house, and I was like telling the girls, I was like, "Come with me to this clinic. Like, I don't want to go alone." and I convinced Alyssa to come with me. And, I'm like convincing the amateur women to come with me to the clinic of the pro women, but it was great. And like, I think, it can humble you a little bit, when you go and learn from someone that you're competing against. Right. And like, it really is like, I think maybe just something that a lot of pros consider, not that they shouldn't, but they consider themselves like kind of above that, right? They are the teacher. But I'll be the first one to admit my form is unconventional, and it's a work in progress always. So like I'm not gonna say no to any tips. I don't think I'm gonna see like Oz at any of Thomas's clinics, or Brownie going to get lessons from Oz or anything like that. But like, it's maybe an FTO thing. We just love each other so much.
So great. So yeah, let's talk Dieppe. So, you and myself, we went out to Dieppe, New Brunswick to play in the Dieppe Open. This is the biggest tournament to be hosted in that province. What appealed to you about the event when you decided I'm going to sign up for this thing?
Mostly, to be honest, it was, I think I told Luke and Rick this as well. Like, it was probably Oz and Tobin. They were pretty gung-ho about going already. And I mean, it was still like early enough that nobody had gotten any places to stay or anything like that. And I don't even think registration was open, but they were like so pumped about this happening. And, Oz's thought space, and Tobin's just so well traveled. He's got friends everywhere. So, sure. They kind of convinced me of just the idea of going. But when we looked into it, and like a lot of their sell was like, it's their first A tier, right? Like they kind of
big deal.
Yeah. They tugged on what they know my biggest passion is like getting kind of like a Canadian tour going, and getting like, it's a pipe dream of probably well down the road, but I think that it starts with this kind of stuff. And having an A tier in the Yukon, having the first A tier in New Brunswick, like it's a big deal for us to not just be talking about like Quebec, BC, Ontario, Alberta, and a little PEI, because they had the nationals. And like when they did that big production for a few years of hosting that, like it really, I think, kind of showed people what a big deal it is to have, like, sure, do whatever you want during the year, but one really big tournament for your province that like has the appeal. Like we're so flush in Ontario, right? Like we have Foxwood, we have Hope Goat, we have our provincials, we have this year we have nationals, right? Like we've hosted a plethora of A tiers. Like Christie, I think it was a C tier this year, maybe a B, but that was an A tier back in the day, right? Like there was so many. So I think the idea of what PEI did, getting the pro tour kind of piquing their interest, and then having that success with the Discmania Open, and then they're booming with courses. I think they're building more there as well. And then New Brunswick kind of takes notice of that, and I think that's really what's happening, is people are seeing what Oz did in Thunder Bay, hosting that tournament year after year, bigger and bigger, until they could demonstrate to the community how important this was and how big it could be. And then they got all this sponsorship and made this huge production of nationals up there. Like it was, I still compare every nationals to Thunder Bay, because PEI was amazing. That was kind of my first nationals, where like that's what I built it off. And then when Thunder Bay happened, now I'm like, how can we have it where the players party is literally a walk away? Like where you have shuttles to the courses, where you have like a bar crawl in the middle of the week. Like it was amazing stuff that they did, the way that they staggered the tournaments so that they had the amateur players party and all the pros came to that, and then the pro end day where people could stay, or they could go, but they could go watch. Like it was so well produced. And I think that BC did a great job last year. I'm disappointed that Ontario didn't get to see that because we were all busy with something else, but it was really well done. And I think that like each province is kind of testing the waters, and I don't want nationals to be in one place again like it was in PEI. I love that it's moving. I would love to see it in like Saskatchewan. I'd love to see it in Alberta. Alberta would be amazing. So, and it's a lot to do with TDs. Like Luke is doing a huge thing. Well, Luke and Rick are doing a huge thing by kind of volunteering for that. They don't get to play. Like, that's such a big tournament. You can't possibly. And there's a number of people involved too that don't get to play, or there was a number of people who did play in the morning and went and spotted or did whatever for the tournament. So like, it's a huge deal to run this and to do it year after year. For him to commit to saying that he's going for nationals in 2027, that means he's doing another A tier and then nationals. Like, it's a lot.
That's a lot.
But I think there's a lot of provinces that are lucky because we have people who have stepped up and people who have stepped up after those people to continue stuff or do new stuff. But, you know, to have your first A tier, like, that's a huge deal for the province. So, and it's a huge deal for Canada. Like, people, I think, don't even know sometimes that we have a national association, right? Like, that we have Can Disc Golf. A lot of people don't even know it exists because we're still so new. It's still being developed, and we still haven't even accessed that national level of sports like approval. So we still have such a long way to go, but like, it's a big deal for each province to kind of prepare for when we can make it an official sport, so we can get national funding and get education programs and get maybe a national tour going. Like, that kind of stuff would be really cool. So it's a big deal to kind of set the precedent.
I mean, I know that if Dieppe is awarded 2027 nationals, I'm definitely going back out. What a fun tournament that was.
Yeah, just in case any of your listeners didn't hear what Thomas said, he compared it to the Pro Tour, the way that tournament was run. He said the organization and the details and the things they did the little flyovers of the holes to show hole breakdowns and stuff. They had a player's guide. They had a player's pack. Each player got their own player's card. Like, they had spotters, they had water, they had bathrooms. They built so much for this course. They had days. I don't know. I'm sure you heard the stories of how they were out there the week before, the days before, building all the drainage. Even though we were standing in puddles, it would have been unplayable if they didn't do that. So it was an unbelievable amount of work. So yeah, that he said that he thought it was rivaled the Pro Tour in the level of organization, which is very impressive.
There really wasn't any, like, you send out the player survey afterwards, like, what would you improve? I'm like, I don't really have any notes. What do you want to do? Like, it was impeccably ran. And yeah, it was fantastic. No notes. Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of well done, after round one, you were behind Quebec's Karen Martel, she who gave the clinic, by only one stroke. And then you were tied with other friend of the show, Chantel Badinsky, after round two. Halfway through the final round, though, you were trailing Chantel by, I think, like 5 strokes. But that didn't last. Tell us what happened on the back, really 10 holes of round 3.
Yeah. I felt really good because I had done well the first 2 holes. I was like, survived hole 1 and hole 2, and I had a great drive on hole 3. And then I had a bad shot, and I got just like kind of like felt uncomfortable. Like I wasn't sure about what I was doing anymore. Like my choices, like, you know, like, why did I throw it like that? Like I knew I should have done this, and kind of got like very blamey. I tend to, back in the day used to get really upset about it, and like I tend to just get like really quiet, and I got upset and like, why am I doing this? And then I bogeyed the next hole, I bogeyed the next hole. I honestly, I got to, I think it was hole 7, and I was just like, this is dumb. Like, I'm probably enough strokes behind now that it does not matter. Like, kind of like, you know, you don't want to ever count yourself out, but you're like, I'm done trying to like win because this is not happening. I'm just,
F it, golf.
Yeah. Did you throw a good shot here? And like, that hole I had thrown into the hazard both rounds. And the first round I bogeyed it, and the second round I parred it from the hazard, which is, I was like, all right, whatever. And it's just a baseball diamond to get over. And I decided, I was like, that's not working. I'm gonna throw this shot, and I'm gonna do this. And I think because I like committed to a plan, because I wasn't, it's the third round and you're doing whatever you did before and trying to do it better. I was like, no, I'm going to do this instead. And I committed to that, and I threw a good drive, and my upshot was like meh, and I was still outside the circle, and I made the putt. And I got the birdie on that hole, and I was like, oh, I can putt. I did have a good drive, like poor upshot, but whatever. It was very windy. And I was like, okay, you can do things. And then we got to the next hole, and I think that was the point where we waited kind of on a lot of holes, like not a lot, but just like the end of putting out on like the next like 6 or 7 holes. And I had double bogeyed this hole, both the first and second round. And I was like, whatever, I double bogeyed it again and it's fine. And so I was like, you know, I was already still, like I said, in that mentality of like, don't try to win anymore. Just try to like do better than the last 2 rounds. Like I was trying to do better each round. And that helped. So from there on out, like I birdied a bunch of holes, and it was great. And I stopped kind of making mistakes. Like I think I did still miss a few putts that like could have been better score. But I got to hole 14, and 13 and 14 are both par 4 or par 5s. And I birdied both of them. And on 14, I had an eagle look for the putt. Like it was like a putt. I couldn't believe how far down that hole I got in 2 shots. I was like so psyched that I had to like kind of talk myself, which is like, you're not going to make it if you do this, but I talked myself out of like the idea that I was going to get a eagle. I was like, you're not going to eagle this. Like, just, you know, do you like a little half bid? We're pretending to run it. And I did that, and then it looked good, but it was like, you know, 5-8 feet away, and tapped that in for the birdie. And I had birdied that hole every round, and it was one of the hardest, longest tree tunnely things. And so I was like very psyched just about that, like kind of little win. And that felt good. Got to the next hole and was like feeling great. And that I shanked it. I shanked my drive. And I was like, oh, great. Because at that point, when I had birdied 14, I was like, okay, maybe I'm actually like doing better, and I'm actually like in this. I'm at least like, maybe I'll at least come second, like, because I'm doing way better now, right? Like all these birdies were coming along. And I shanked the drive, and that's when I looked at the scores to check what was going on. Because I was like, well, can't do anything about it now. And that's where I saw I was 1 back, and I was like, okay, that sucks. But like, hey, at least we were 1 back, and I was like actually pretty psyched about that. So then that was like a good move for me to check my score. Even though people might think like you're going to punish yourself for now having to pitch out or whatever, it reaffirmed that I should pitch out, and that I should just get a 4. Like, cause I wasn't that far into the forest, but it's super easy for you to try and like bite off too much, go back into the forest, and then be totally screwed. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna I did a overhand throw, and I was like, I've never done that, and threw my Firebird out of the forest through this like little gap. That's how bad it was. And I got to the edge and I was like, this is perfect. I did a like perfect layup and had a tap in bogey, and I was psyched about it. Which is like a huge growth of like, these aren't the thoughts I was having before. And this is like where I'm trying to like fix this kind of issue, because after that round at Nationals in Thunder Bay, I was in 4th place and I tied for 1st. I think I was in 4th. Yeah, and I tied for 1st. You would never think going into that round that you were going to do that. I didn't think I was going to. I had no idea how close it was like this. I waited until like, the last few holes to check. Because there's no point. You're not going to change your game plan. There's no point on like chasing a score. So after that had happened to me, my mentality it's been easier for me to shift this idea of like caring about, making up this, or, oh, I have to birdie that, or I missed this birdie, so now I have to try and birdie this hole that I never would have had in my game plan to birdie. Like, there's no reason to do any of that. You just have to think about the shot you're doing. And so looking at the scores there, instead of thinking about the scores too much, I was like, oh, I'm still doing really well. Like, I want my score at the end of the round to still be really good. I don't want to go, oh, I was 1 back and now I have to get up there for the par. And now I'm double bogeying or whatever this hole. Now at the end of the round, when I look at my rating and my score, it's going to feel way worse. So I want to do the smart thing. And that helped me like refocus that.
And then came hole 16.
Yeah.
So you're coming into 16, a 315-foot par 4.
Yeah.
Generous 4, perhaps, but it's certainly a tougher hole than its numbers suggest. It's lots of trees, potential for Plinko gallery, kind of tunnely up right off the tee. So coming into 16, you are 1 stroke back of Chantal. And what happens?
Yeah, I think because I was 2 strokes back because I bogeyed that hole. I'm 2 back. I think at that point I was like, I just want to again like finish well. So I was still trying to just throw a good shot. I got to go first. No, last. I got to go last because I bogeyed and everyone else parred or whatever. And so I already saw that Chantal had gone into the forest like a little bit left, and it wasn't really that bad. So I was still like, well, she'll for sure par it. Maybe I can try and birdie it, and then try and birdie the next hole, and then try and like I was like, the 3 holes left, and that's what I need is 3 more strokes, so I can do that. And so that's what I was thinking, and I threw the drive that I like had been trying to throw all week. I threw it pretty decent in practice, but I'd never thrown it this well. And actually, Alyssa and me did a practice round, and she got in the circle for the birdie, and she threw exactly the line that I was trying to do, or sorry, for the eagle. She threw exactly the line that I was trying to do she did it in our practice round. So like for the last 3 days, I'd been trying to like do that shot, and it just happened to work. And it was like the right shot. It was on the left side, because there's the hole, but for our viewers at home, it's very Winter Farms-esque is what we said, but with also lots of green on the side. So when you get off, you can't see as well.
The rough was pretty rough.
Yeah. So there's like a big tree in the middle. You choose your side, and it's the left side is a bit of a turnover. It's a very vague turnover kind of the whole way, and you want the slightest bit of finish. The right side, I think, is a baity gap. It's very hard to go around that tree and still go straight enough to get to the basket. So it's very hard, but you could do like a flex forehand around. It's very hard to do any of these shots. A lot of people are throwing a mid, I found. And I threw an escape, which is kind of risky because it's a driver, but if you hit a tree, you're going to bounce a bit farther away. But, it felt like it was the disc to throw. So I probably would throw like a mana or something like that if I was trying to be safer. And then just flexed on the left side of that tree line, and it just kept going, and it hyzered right before the circle. So it landed right on the circle's edge. And it's tough to like kind of talk about what someone else does on the course. But the rundown was Chantel was on this left side, and she tried to, like it's a par 4, you could pitch out and then go up, and she was probably 180 feet away from the basket, but there's a lot of trees. So there's no for sure you're going to pitch out and get to the basket. So, do what you think is best, right? And so she tried to forehand through the trees she was in. And just, I think, clipped like a branch, which stopped her dead and knocked her right down. And then her next shot, she tried to do the same thing, because now at that point, it's like no pitching out is she could have just pitched forward or pitched out. So you might as well just try and go a little bit to the basket, right? So she tried to do that and just ended in the inside circle 2 area, but like not close to circle 1. So she was still quite a big putt away, and she did give it a good bid. And then because I was like just in front at circle's edge, so I made the putt before she went and made her 5. But it was a big swing to have that happen. And like, I didn't expect that at all, because I did generally expect her to pitch out. And I think if she, keep this in mind, people, if you ever get in this situation, if she had pitched out and gotten under the basket, mentally, I think it would have been a lot harder for me to make that putt. And I don't think that's untrue of for a lot of people. And it's because then the pressure is back on you. When she had thrown her 4th shot, and I knew the best she was getting was a 5, I knew that if I made that putt, I was winning. If I missed that putt, I was still tied for first. So it really was like no pressure to make it, which made it a lot easier to do. So like a lot of what I did on, ironically, the hole before when I shanked that drive was exactly why I did that, because I didn't want to do what she just did, where you're now flopping to like the worst case scenario of the hole. So that's a good thing to remember, is like maybe pitching out is hard, but like, also keep the pressure on the other person too is helpful. And like, don't give them that opportunity. But I don't, like I said, I don't want to speak to what she did, because like I'm not in her brain. And I didn't actually, because she was in the trees, I didn't actually see the line she was taking. They could have been really, really great lines. I don't know. But yeah, it was a tough hole to watch, because I knew what had happened, and very hard on the next hole. You could just
17 was a tough one for right-handers to pick up any strokes.
Yeah, honestly, part of like she was really upset on 16, and I think part of 17, what she had a fantastic forehand. She's really actually got such a good forehand now. Playing in the US has been really helpful.
Absolutely.
So hopefully she'll give me forehand tips next time. But she did this forehand through, and it hit the tree. I don't know if you know, right when you go over the creek, there's a tree there. That's the last big tree in the fairway. It's not, it's just kind of on the right side. She was skipping in where she would have skipped into the open, and she hit that tree, and it literally rolled back like 35 feet.
That is a tough break.
Yeah, and it was like she was already so upset about what just happened that I think she just kind of was like, yeah, whatever, because that's life. She still got the 3 on the hole, and it was fine. And I still got the 3 on the hole, so we were still, it was only 1 stroke still. And then we had a really eventful last hole where we did fist bumps. We even like had a little chat at the end, and then did fist bumps and put in our scores from last hole. And I looked over, and I was like, there's no one there. Like, I guess we're good to go. Like, I thought there was a spotter, but maybe they're, they chit chat away and they're not like looking, and it's fine. So I just figured, oh, okay, I'm good to go. And I smoked a tree and knocked me back onto the fairway. It was such a bad shot and a really good tree kick, like really lucky. And then I just see like a disc pop out and someone was like, oh my God, was that a disc? And I was like, what? And eventually someone walked out and I guess they were still in the hole.
Oops.
And I had shanked it. Like if I had not hit that tree, like if I had hit the line I was looking at, I was trying to just hyzer out on that hole.
Sure.
And it would have been exactly where they were because that's what they did. They hyzered out to the left and they were just tucked behind that tree line on the left. And so thank goodness I didn't. And then it totally iced everyone else. So they had to wait like a few more minutes for them to putt out. And then, and then, and then Chantel threw and she threw it into the trees and knocked her into like the same kind of path. And Tanis had a pretty good shot. And then, yeah, it was just like a really bad, ending to the hole. Cause I think that really threw off whatever mojo Chantel might have had about like keeping pace or birdieing that hole. Cause she had to wait like 2 minutes, 3, maybe even 5 minutes to like throw. So then, we both ended up having okay upshots and she putted hers in and then I had to go make like, I posted the video of it.
It was a solid.
Yeah, it was probably between 15 and 20. It wasn't like that far, but it was the
In that wind?
longest putt I've ever made.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to do that. Like, I think, especially new people shouldn't beat themselves up for losing in situations like that because it takes losing a lot of times to be able to be like, it's fine. And it doesn't matter that there's, 30 to 40 people, like a bunch of my friends right there, everyone cheering for you and literally know that if you don't make this putt, you lose. And they're all going to be like, oh, when you miss, like you can't think about any of that stuff. It is hard. So don't beat yourself up if you do miss those putts.
How did you like hole 18 as a finishing hole? I thought it wasn't my favorite as a finishing hole.
Yeah, I wasn't looking forward to it as a finishing hole. I think it's hard to say. Like when you think about like Christy, Oz put a lot of thought into the last hole on that course and
lots of score separation on that
a
one.
lot of people hate it. There was people like 11s, taking 11s, 9s. It's the last hole of the tournament. You're very proud of your round. You come in and you take a 9 on that hole and you're like, well, there goes 4 birdies that I just got. Like throw them out the window. Or worse, there goes 4 pars I got. And then now it's, like it's horrible to have that ending. But in the same sense, like I parred that hole every time. I think I parred it and I birdied it the second round. So like not a big deal to me because it was a particular distance and I just had just enough to get into the right spot, to get just enough in the right spot, to have a nice simple layup. Like, whereas this hole, I think it was really tough because of the wins we had. And if we didn't have those wins, it might have been a bit boring of a last hole, just considering how crazy some of the holes in there were. It was kind of a very vague last hole, but I really did appreciate the like lefty righty kind of options on this course, right? Like having
overall
16's wide, either choose your poison. 17's very lefty friendly, 18's very righty friendly. Like it was kind of a good collection at the end. So if you think about it in that context, it was great. But as an ending hole, yeah, like kind of boring in normal circumstances. And then like, for MPO, it's like who doesn't birdie it? For FPO, it's like
it wasn't birdied once.
Yeah,
in the entire tournament.
Really?
Yeah, 0% birdie. It was round 1.
It's crazy.
It was 50% par, 50% bogey, and then the rest double bogey. Round 2, 83% par, and then 17-17 for bogeys or higher. And then round 3, it was 67% par, 33% bogey. Not a single birdie. That not a lot of scoring separation on the final hole when you kind of want a little bit of that to have some drama and frankly to have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
The way it worked out was the only way that you could make any headway on it was if your opponent bogeyed.
Right.
There wasn't really a easy chance to actually birdie the thing. You weren't really in, other than getting a par, which was a relatively straightforward par. It was parred by the vast majority of the field at some point. There wasn't really an opportunity to birdie. You didn't have your sort of your destiny in your own hands there. It was your destiny was in the potential for bogey for other players. So hole 18, I don't know how they could have changed it. Maybe go out to the right along the dog park fence, that area, maybe. I don't know. But it's kind of a tight spot. But if I had to change one thing, I would maybe change hole 18, make it a par 4 somehow.
I think that there is, do you know, like, you know how if you go into the water, it was OB?
Mm-hmm.
There's that tree line on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were talking about cutting out a gap through there. So
yeah.
you would go through that,
mm-hmm.
As the hole, which like could be
cool.
Potential. Yeah. Utilize that little bit of space they have next to the dog park. It is weird because they aren't working with that much space there. It's kind of a weird area where you're like kind of connected to like 11, 12, 17's right there, and you walk across 12 to get to 18's tee pad, like, and it's all very, and that's the access road for them to drive in and everything. So it's kind of weird, but it is interesting because I'm hoping to go next year, and I'm interested to know what they're going to do next year, how it might change, because as people might not know, because I didn't go into this tournament, the course is not the normal course. Some of the holes,
safari layout.
Yeah, some of the holes are like combined. Some of the holes are like totally different. But then also part of it is the baseball diamond holes they're temporary holes that they put in for tournaments. So I'm interested to know what they do next year. Every time I talked to Luke about a hole, he had plans to make it harder. So oh joy.
Great.
And
yay.
I was like, I really enjoyed the pars. Like, it was fun to have eagle opportunities because, like, I can't even remember the last time I've eagled. And so to have the opportunity to do it was exciting. And I said, you know, some people might say that's too easy. But I think it's nice for people to be in the negatives. He's like, oh yeah, no, we're going to have baskets pushed back. We're going to have like this tee pad is going to be here instead. We're going to have this basket way back. You know that opening that's back there? Yeah, like 60, 70 feet back. We're going to cut out a little area. And it's like, oh my God, okay. Never mind.
Luke.
I don't like your pars. Make them easier then. Make the course harder. But no, it'll be good. So he's got a lot of plans. So I'm interested to see if it's going to be that different next year. And then, of course, next year, Luke, for anyone interested in going, was saying that he is doing additional courses. So he's looking at making it feasible for the quantity of people that would be going to nationals. So he wants to have pools and have them driving between the courses and seeing how it goes and all that. And I think that's giving his community some initiative to build these courses and that kind of stuff. I know they have one at the school already, but there was talk of another one going in. So, you know, that'll be interesting to see next year as well, like what kind of changes and what the new course brings and all that kind of stuff. He's got lots of plans.
Let's move off Dieppe for now. So we mentioned I mentioned in the intro that you had a bunch of second place finishes in the last year, all of which you were only back by one stroke.
Yeah.
So at nationals, you were one stroke back of Sophia. At provincials, you were one stroke back of Chantel. King's Forest this year behind Alicia Hums. And at the Toronto Open, it was one stroke behind Alexander Paletto. First of all, note against all different players.
Yeah.
This suggests to me that the Canadian FPO field, especially in Ontario, seems to be really strong right now. Do you agree? Would you say this is maybe the strongest it's been since you started playing? And do you like that challenge and getting pushed?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I do think it is the strongest we've had it. I do think that like everyone I felt like playing at the Toronto Open this year was like everyone like somehow got more power over the winter. When I like got a little worried, I was like, man, like breaking my foot, like I had to spend half of last year like learning how to walk again. So it was like kind of worried like, oh man, everyone's like caught up to where I was. So getting a little worried. Like, I mean, I've had a few years ago, some like notable years of winning by like a lot at a lot of tournaments. And, you know, the field has really kind of stepped up and really pursued and chased that. I think, Chantel moving up was great because then it was basically me standing cat and like every now and then someone would play. So that was great. And then now we've had like Jess Goulet kind of semi-permanent, and we've had Alex really committed to the field, and then Rebecca came in, and it's been really, really big. Now we have Anna moving up, and we've had Lauren Williams playing this year. We've had
Alicia Hums.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Alicia was like notably huge in FPO. She would have been like just after Kat as well. And it just like it's grown so much. But the last year I was like, oh damn, everyone's throwing so far. And like, you know, Alex could throw really far, and like
she can bomb.
So accurate now, and like me and her have been like rivaling each other the last 2 years at East End Putting League. So I think that's been pushing both of us to kind of get better at putting. And, you know, Chantel coming back from the tour, she's got like big forehand now, and so everyone's like trying to work on their forehands, and like Jess Goulet coming out with all her forehands. And so it's been kind of like everyone keeping each other on their toes, I think. But the last year has been, I think, a huge growth. Like, I think a lot of these women have really honed in, and a lot of it is time. Like, you know, like I was saying, like I lost a whole bunch when I was first playing FPO. Like for years, I was losing everything, and then finally started winning things. And the only way I started winning was because I stopped trying to win and I started trying to do better for my rating. And I think a lot of people, it takes some time to get into like whatever kind of mental state that you need to, like that. Some people care about their rating, some people don't. I value it because it makes me stop caring about who I'm playing against. Like, I'm not trying to beat Chantel at Dieppe. I'm trying to have a better rating, which I did every round, had a better score, a better rating. Like that I think is more of a goal than anything else. And like, it helped me to stop caring that I was losing tournaments. And eventually it made me such a good player that I was winning, and I was winning. Then all of a sudden I was winning all the time. And the way I kept winning all the time was because I was still looking at like the MPO's ratings or whoever was propagating with us, or just generally ratings, and just trying to be like, what's a good rating, and pushing what I was trying to do every tournament. So I think that has like kind of sunken in a little bit more with FPO. And like, you know, I'm not going to speak to what anyone thinks, but the way I see it is them coming into their own about like their confidence and their abilities, and like, you know they can win. Like all of us have now won against each other, right? Like there's no, I don't think there's anyone I haven't lost to, but like it just is that confidence that you can do it. So now that monkey gets off your back, and the whole division has just really started to like come into their own. So I think it's huge. It's huge because when I started, we didn't have FPO. There was female. It was just female. And then it was FA1 or FA2. And eventually all the FA1s just moved up. And now we have tournaments where they're like, why isn't there an FA3 division? And I'm like, I can't believe that exists. Like we would have been lucky to get 3 divisions. So cool. So it's amazing, the growth. And I think it's important. You know, we've got FP40 division now happening, getting pretty solid there. We've got like
FP50 and 60.
Lisa, we got like Susan's. I think is Susan Jarvis playing pro now?
No, she's still AM. I think she's FA 50.
Yeah. But like, you know, we got the divisions grown. We got all these amateur. We got like the pro divisions grown. We got pro women playing in masters, which is like, you know, you go to other communities, they barely have anyone playing. So we've done a lot in Ontario. It's pretty big, and I think a lot of it is attributed to some of the people who have really fought for it, and like Mindy has really fought for masters, and she's gotten a lot more backlash than she really ever should have gotten for suggesting that we take some of the men's spots. Like when we were playing, it was like an 82 person tournament was like pushing it. You know, it's probably 72 really, or like around 80, and there's like 10 women, and we're suggesting we have one more division, you know? And like, it was like, well, what are we going to do with the AM2s? We're going to tell them they have to have 36 instead of 40? Like, that's not enough spots. Like, it's kind of been a bit of a battle for that. So definitely credit to her and Jane for standing their ground. You know, these women have had to cite the PDGA policy where it is to be inclusive to women and juniors just to get their spots. So it's huge growth for us to have a FPO field of 8 to 12 women. Like,
that's fantastic.
All the time. That's crazy. 2 cards, like, to not know how I'm doing because I have to actually check the scores instead of.
Could you be on chase card? There's a chase card.
We used to joke about that all the time. I'm on the lead card and the chase card and the bottom card. Like, it was funny, and now it's like it's crazy that doesn't happen. And well, it rarely happens. Like, I mean, Alicia's playing the last 2 tournaments by herself, but those are up north. Sorry, Alicia.
North is different.
Yeah.
It's still smaller.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's not that.
Yeah.
And we're getting new players moving up all the time. You mentioned Anna Olin.
Yeah.
It's great to see her jumping up to FPO. This is how the sport progresses in the women's divisions, by getting that progression and players looking up to yourself and the other FPOs and saying, I want to play against her. I think I can do it. And then learning how to play pro, and then they're the next gen to really push it, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah. And you know, I think that there's also a thing of like, I know this happened when Alyssa and when Anna played. Like, a lot of the women moving up from the amateurs are like, oh, I'm so sorry, like preemptively before the round. I'm so sorry if I'm slow today. I'm so sorry if I don't throw as far as you guys. Like, I don't care.
Not even a little bit.
I do not. There's no way we're going to be like, oh, I hate playing with her because she can't throw far. Like, that would be so cruel. Like, I think all the women who are playing amateur should know, like, there's no reason to feel that way. So if you want to play a tournament, just try it out. Like, don't need to feel like you're not going to be welcome. So that's like, I mean, the FPO division is so much fun and very chill vibes. So I think, if you want to try it out and don't feel like you're going to hold anyone back or slow anyone down. It's not the case at all. And, we'd rather have you play with us and learn and ask questions and talk about shots than you be scared. Don't do that. I had someone reach out after Australia to ask about how I got on the team and how to do that, because she said that's a goal for her. She wants to do it. And I think that that's so wonderful to hear. I don't at all see that as oh no, she's going to replace me, or what if she gets better than me?
Good.
None of the
challenge it.
Ever feel that way. So ask those questions and reach out, ask to play a practice round together. If you're going to a tournament and there's tea time signups for practice rounds and you're oh, look, Alicia and Colleen are playing a practice round, just ask to play. It's not, nobody wants to gatekeep any secrets. We want women to be better. We want to help. We want to, give people the opportunities. So, I think that's true for a lot of people in disc golf. You might come across snobby people. They're everywhere. They're not just in disc golf, they're everywhere. So that might happen. But, for the most part, I think I can speak for all the FPOs in Ontario that none of them are snobby. So yeah, reach out and try it out.
Well, I think this is a great spot to wrap up this interview on this wonderfully positive note. But before we end it, any shout outs that you would like to give or any final comments? The floor is yours.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna preemptively thank you, not Galen or Robbie, you for the good juju, because I'm gonna win my next 2 tournaments, right? Because of the Missed Mando.
It's guaranteed. The Missed Mando bump is absolutely a thing.
That's right. But also I would actually like to shout out Park Pro, because today is a special day. They have released the 2024 Nationals FPO coverage with yours truly. And also Canada's #1 and current Golden Girl, Sophia Donachie. So that's really exciting. I think Gabby is on that card, and I feel so bad, but I can't remember who else is on that card. I haven't actually watched it. Literally, Chris told me when we were at my parents' house for dinner. So very exciting. If you're on their Patreon, if you do subscribe, you can get all 3 rounds right now, but they are just currently releasing them timed. So special perks if you Patreon. And that's really cool. I know they've kind of slowed down and or stopped production. I don't think they're filming this year. So, it's vital that this stuff kind of happens. I think to have Nationals not filmed this year is kind of a shame. So if anyone is willing to talk to Daryl about, get some filming done, maybe you are a filmer, you could do that, or anyone out there, that would be awesome, because this is the kind of stuff to be able to show people how cool our sport is and how big it is every year. It's amazing. And I think it's a shame we're not going to have, if we, I don't know that there's not filming, but that's what Daryl's said so far. But if, we don't have these beautiful courses shown off, I think that's part of it as well. If you're not going to watch Nationals because you care, at least watch it for how cool the golf courses are and see what it's like in BC. That's pretty cool. So yeah, shameless plug.
I just pulled up one of them, and looks like just a round 2 back 9. I'm sure there are other ones, but it is you, Taylor Chosek, who you ended up tying for second, I believe, on the tournament, Sophia Donachie, and a friend of mine, Lauren Butler.
Yes. That would be round 2, right?
That was round 2. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Round 1 is probably also in here as well. This just happens to be the one I pulled up.
Yeah, Taylor doing big things. She had her first big finish in the Pro Tour recently. 10th or something. I don't know. At whatever would have been Portland Open. I don't know what it was called this year. But yeah,
Northwest Disc Golf Championships.
Yes, and Rebecca did awesome. She cashed.
Yes, she did.
And Sophia did amazing as well. So very cool to have our Canadian girls down there. And you can check out Taylor because I know she's been all over. She's been all over the Pro Tour for a little while. They've been shooting shots of her, and she's always caddying for someone. So one of the MPOs all the time. I think she was on. Was it
Goose?
Bradley Williams?
Oh, maybe.
Oh,
I think I've seen her with Goose Gossage.
Goose for the Down Under, but I think she's. Yeah. I don't know. She was caddying for Bradley Williams. I saw.
Cool.
Because he was on the coverage, and I saw him make a really, really nice upshot, and then she was right there high-fiving him. So she's always there for someone. But yeah, so she's on that coverage, and Lauren Butler, man, she is fantastic. She's out there living the dream. Like, she's a fantastic.
Literally, that's the name of the company, Living the Dream Disc Golf.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We got to spend some time with her at nationals, and she was such a cool person to hang out with, and like so much fun. Like, we're like, yeah, we're gonna go to a waterfall. She like, do you want to come? She's like, yeah, sure. And like, oh, okay. Do you want to come out for dinner? Like, we were at the waterfall. We're going to go to dinner. Someone invited us. Do you want to swing by your place and come to dinner? And she's like, yeah, sounds great. Like, she was just so much fun to like, that's how me and Chris are, right? We're just like, go with the flow and make the most of every tournament we go to. So it was cool to get those good vibes from her, play together a little bit. And yeah, it was fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for chatting with us. Always an absolute pleasure to have you back on the show. We will have you back on after your next spree of wins that will undoubtedly come because of the missed Mando bump.
Yes.
But until then, we will be right back here on Missed Mando.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on Missed Mando. I am Robbie Galen, and I'm here joined by Sean. Welcome, Sean. Is this your first time on the pod?
Long-time listener, first-time host. Really, really excellent. And thanks to our guest, who is totally not you, Colleen Mcinnes, for joining us for that interview. It was absolutely fantastic. I don't know. What did you think? Do you think that was a solid interview from her?
Yeah, crazy. I've never heard of her before. She's
new on the scene, I think.
Yeah, unsponsored. So who really knows about those unsponsored people?
Seriously, sponsors, holla, because this girl needs to get that bag. Let's go. But
love that.
On to other news. So first, here at Miss Mando, we take our journalistic integrity extremely seriously, and I have to do a bit of a mea culpa. On our last episode when we were covering Foxwood, somehow I missed 2 ace shoutouts. This is disrespectful. First one, Aaron Ward nails hole 2, sick ace, and Tyler Tidy, I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but he absolutely drained an ace on hole 6. The show, i.e. me, regrets the oversight in the era. It was extremely unfortunate, and I apologize, but well done, boys, for nailing some amazing aces there. Next in news, Ontario's #1 rated disc golf course, according to Robbie's Disc Golf Ontario amazing polling that he did earlier this year, Project 15 has been named the #5 best course in all of Canada, according to UDisc. Super amazing. Well done to friend of the show, Gabe Robinson, the owner of that course. Really has made truly a fantastic course that is, everybody loves to play that place. The courses that were in the top 4 are, I mean, number 1, of course, Hillcrest Farm out in PEI, Raptors Knoll in BC, and then somehow Aspen Meadows West and Aspen Meadows East came in 3 and 4. But like these are truly world-class courses, and it is awesome that Project 15 is hanging with the big dogs, if you will. Colleen, what do you think of this list?
I think it's not surprising. I think that this is like kind of some people's dream list, right? Like Hillcrest Farms, of course, like a staple in Canada, just the nationals that have been held there. Raptors Knoll, I mean, like that. I mean, that course is well known. Just let alone for the signature hole, just the tournaments that are held there. That was where
the BC Open.
But the BC Open, that was also Canada's largest tournament, right? Like that was a huge deal. So to have the capacity that they did, that was crazy. But yeah, so I mean, and I haven't been to Aspen Meadows, but I am very sure that if both of Aspen Meadows are on there, it's got to be impeccable. So I think that's a really impressive list to have our amazing modest course here that like Gabe literally carved out of his property, and I think that's really cool. So very exciting. I think if you're gonna make a wish list, we got you covered there.
Absolutely. The ranking places the course in the top 1% of courses worldwide. Like, come on, let's go. Well done, Gabe. Congratulations. And it just shows that the statistical analysis that generated the Disc Golf Ontario course ranking really holds up. It has now been like peer reviewed and verified by this UDisc ranking, and it's number 1 for a reason.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to move on to just one tournament registration this week. Brand new event got added to the Ontario tournament calendar, the Wolf Cat Classic. This was, I believe, previously held at Trail Hub last year, and it's migrating north to the Algonquin Disc Golf Course at Tom Thompson Park up in South River. This is where the Black Fly Fling is held. It was just recently there where a friend of the show, Colleen Mcinnes, took it down by a healthy margin, we'll just say. The tournament is a 1-day, 2-round C tier taking place on October 4th, and registration opens. It's going to open today, June 5th, by the time this episode drops. So be sure to sign up for this one. The course is so much fun, and this is going to be a must-play event in the fall. I mean, come on, South River in the fall. It's going to be spectacular up there.
Yeah, Black Fly without the black flies. It'll be amazing.
Just a fling. No black fly fling.
Just flinging those discs around. That's right.
The north in the fall, it is so nice. Like when we had provincials up in Huntsville, like that was spectacular, absolutely stunning. And South River, I'm sure, will be absolutely no different.
Yeah, the colors are amazing, so it's definitely worth it. And then it's still usually those lakes are still pretty warm for you to go swimming in, so it's actually a perfect time. It's a little bit chilly when we went up there. Don't think I was gonna go swimming. I did go in the water actually to go get one of my discs back. Actually, to go get mine and Spencer's disc back too.
Come on, Spencer.
He was being all sad at the end of the round, and I went in and got it for him, and it cheered him up a little bit, so that helped.
Yeah. All part of the service.
Service with a smile.
We're going to move on now to tournament recaps. Now, this is one we've already talked about on the show a fair bit. It is the Dieppe, the Greenfoot Energy Dieppe Open, elevated by Thought Space Athletics out in Dieppe, New Brunswick. The City played host to the province's very first A-tier tournament this past weekend, now 2 weekends ago, on the Dieppe disc golf course. Dieppe is the neighboring community to Moncton and has a really great local disc golf club. The tournament redesigned the local course into a challenging safari layout for 176 players in 12 divisions, with players from all across Atlantic Canada, Quebec, the USA, and a very healthy Ontario contingent, which yours truly and Colleen were definitely part of. The weather, it was absolutely miserable. Especially for round one with 60 plus kilometer an hour winds, heavy rain, and single digit temperatures. It might have been some of the worst non-winter tournament weather that I've played in. In FPO, 6 women competed for the title, including friends of the show, Colleen Mcinnes and Chantal Badinsky, and it was these top 2 Canadian players who battled it down to the last hole for the title. They were neck and neck, with rarely more than 1 or 2 stroke difference between them for the whole weekend. In round 3, Colleen drained a big putt on 16 for eagle when Chantal had an unfortunate bogey, which gave Colleen a 1-stroke lead heading into the final 2 holes, where she held off Chantal for that 1-stroke lead to take down the win, her 4th of 2025. Over in MPO, 25 players battled it out, including show friends Thomas Gilbert, Chris Azolins, and Spencer Young, and Chris Brown. I think Colleen might be familiar with. Thomas was in 4th place after round 1, but roared back with a scorching -9 second round to take the lead. That is an absolutely monster round on this course. At the end of round 2, it was a 3-horse race between Thomas, with Thomas in first by 2 strokes over Oz and Quebec's Hubert Vachon. In round 3, though, Thomas carded a single bogey and shot a -7. Took the win by 4 strokes over Hubert, with Oz coming in a solid 3rd. Throw it over to Colleen for some thoughts on the tournament. Colleen, what did you think?
Yeah, it was a really well designed course. Certainly, no holes were the same. There was no, oh, this is just like that hole. Tough conditions out there. I think we kind of split the bad weather there. Like FPO was early, MPO was late, so I had the whole entire day to stay at the course and experience it. We got a lot of rain at the beginning of the tournament. The MPOs got a lot of rain at the end, so kind of evened out. It was a really, really tough field out there. I think we got a lot of variety of players, so it was definitely worth the trip. And, if you're looking for a new province to get under your belt, definitely fun. But yeah, really hard conditions. There were players going out to the Walmart to go buy working gloves, because like gardening gloves or whatever they could get, because it was so cold. So I think us Canadians would be prepared. But
Yeah, I went to Bass Pro after round 1 and got these like thick, like hunting gloves that were thankfully waterproof, because the gloves that I had, well, all of the clothes, I actually bought a different raincoat too. All the clothes I had were insufficient to the task.
Yeah. It wasn't just rain. It was like being in a pool. You were just soaked.
Yeah, I think by like hole 13, I couldn't feel on round 1, I couldn't feel my fingers. So like holding the putter was very, very interesting. It was just like, is it in my hand? I have to look to see that it was. And it's like, sure, that was a putt. But strangely, it was my best round of the 3 in the worst conditions. I don't know what that says about the rest of my game, but it was miserable, but still an absolute blast.
Well, and there were 2 guys out there who didn't have a problem with holding the disc. We had 2 aces that weekend. Scott Girthy in MP50 aced hole 2. So it's very fun downhill, 269, beat, very straight. You can go on the left side and hyzer in a little bit, or the right side, but there's a little hydro pole in the middle. Very fun shot. So that's a very exciting ace.
That was probably one of my favorite holes on the course.
Yeah,
I love a good little downhiller.
it's very control your distance, know your disc. Like I felt like there's a few holes like that out there where it was like so important for you to know which, like, am I throwing a mid or is this a driver? Is this a putter? Like you had to know which one. This one goes a little bit too right or left. So good job on Scott for getting that ace. That was a good one. And then hole 18, we were talking about how challenging this is and how interesting of a last hole. And so Cedric Gilbert in MPO, he ended up acing hole 18, 312 feet. There is some OB short if you go in the water. But just, it's, from my perspective, a little hyzer. I do think, I'm not sure how Cedric aced this, but I recall hearing it was a forehand, I think, a forehand turnover, a little like flexy forehand. So
I can see that.
Impressive regardless. There was very few birdies on that hole for us. So there was no birdies for us. So it was it's very challenging. I think Rose might have the last round, but it was a very challenging hole. So congratulations to him on that ace.
Absolutely. Super fun event. Can't wait for next year. But let's move on to the Pro Tour. Let's do a little recap here of the Northwest Disc Golf Championships. Colleen, over to you.
Yeah, so this one of the most anticipated non-major events of the year has come and gone in the last weekend, and the Disc Golf Pro Tour descended upon Portland, Oregon for the second Elite Plus series of the event. In a collaboration between the organizing teams of Beaver State Fling and Portland Open, the events were kind of combined into the Northwest Disc Golf Championship. So it featured two rounds, two courses, but 2 rounds at the iconic Milo McIver course. Sorry. And 2 rounds at the beautiful Glendover East course. Very, very challenging courses and definitely contrasting scores over the weekend. In FPO, Missy Gannon held a 1-stroke lead over Holland Hanley and after the first 2 rounds, but Holland was able to shoot the hot rounds in both rounds 3 and 4, which again, like that changeover from one course to the other. She had a dominant 7-stroke victory over Missy with the 2024 Portland Open winner Paige Pierce rounding out the podium in third. So we always love to hear that Paige is up there. That's exciting. I saw a video of her saying how psyched she was to be in that hunt, and she woke up so excited. She was kind of sad that round was ending because it felt good to be up there again. So a little nostalgia there. It was nice to see her up there. This brings Holland to 3 wins this season, tying her career high for wins in a season where she also had 3 wins last year. So, you know, the season's like really, really not that far in. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot more from Holland. Very exciting. In the MPO division, we saw arguably the most thrilling end to a tournament this season. Anthony Barella and Gannon Burr tied for the lead going into the final round. Corey Ellis and Kyle Klein just 5 strokes behind. Fast forwarding a bit, going into hole 16, AB had 1-stroke lead over Gannon and Kyle. Kyle was having an amazing round to race the 5-stroke deficit, but AB was able to hit a 30-foot birdie to extend the lead. With 2 holes left, he extended his lead, one stroke on Gannon and 2 on Kyle. On hole 17, Kyle scrambled for par after an errant tee shot. AB airballed an awkward birdie putt, and Gannon was able to birdie to shrink AB's lead to 1 going into an eagleable par 5 on the 18th. So anything could happen here. Gannon and Kyle both had perfect drives to set them up for a chance for eagle, but AB threw his way short. It was a little bit low, out of position, and then on his second shot, hit a tree to leave him out of position. Then Kyle stepped up and laced his approach shot, giving him a 40-foot putt for eagle. Well, Gannon shanked his approach to leave the door open. So AB would chip up to about 100 feet, giving him a straightforward up and down for par. But he fluffed his approach, leaving him with about a 20-foot putt. Very, very doable in the circle putt, but a little bit of work on that. Well, Gannon put his under the basket, giving us a chance at a 3-way playoff if everyone could hit their putts. So Kyle stepped up first from 40 feet and left the putt a little bit short and wide. It ended his chances. AB then had to hit his 20-foot putt for par to send it into a playoff, but he pushed it a little bit right and the disc spit out. And if you haven't seen it, you got to go back and watch it. It is heartbreaking. Giving Gannon the improbable win. And if you watch the video, it's AB putting his hands up and turning around away from the camera. And if you watch it, Gannon's right behind him doing exactly the same thing, about a second delay, because you can just see in Gannon's emotion, he was just as upset. He didn't want a win like that. This was just a wild, like, who could throw it away first kind of thing. So there's a really cool recap out there as well, but go and watch those rounds. This is Gannon's second win of the season, tying him with Nicholas Antela for the most wins this season. So what did you think there, Sean? I know you watched that. What did you
think
about that end?
That was the most improbable ending that definitely the most improbable that we've seen this year. Truly, it was who could throw away the win first or try and give it to Kyle. Really, like, shout out to Kyle Klein, non-listener of the show, because he had a fantastic charge at the end there, and was like, that putt was pretty darn close. Did he hit the tray? I think it was so close, and a 3-way playoff would have been absolutely fantastic. So sick to see. AB seems to have an issue with, like, the choke at the end. Like, there was the Music City Open, I think, where he totally kind of crapped the bed. There was the legendary, of course, European Open where, hole 16 bit him bad. And then now we have to put this one in his L category as well. It was painful to watch. The near simultaneous reaction with Gannon and AB is probably one of the defining video footage shots of the year so far. The pain in both of their expressions. Like, you're right. This is not how Gannon wants to win. He doesn't want the other guy to lose and give it to him.
Yeah.
That's the most improbable finish. You hate to see it, but man, exciting as hell.
Yeah.
How do you not watch live disc golf when these are the things that can happen? I can't stand watching post-production, because this DGN's where the action is at. Like, it is so much fun. Every tournament. We're going to go now to our picks recap. I picked Paige Pierce and Gannon Burr to take this one down. So Paige came in third, Gannon came in first. So I had an average of 2. Galen picked Sophia Dunica, who, let's go, tied for 10th place. And also shout out to Rebecca Dawn, who I believe came in 16th place.
Yeah.
And got that cash. Well done, Rebecca. Galen also had Ricky Wysocki, who tied for 5th, so an average of 7.5. And Robbie picked the winner at Holland Handley. And Calvin Heimberg tied for 10th, so he averaged 5.5. So I took down the win this week. absolutely love to see Paige Pierce up on the podium. If I remember right, this was her third podium in a row, and it's the first time that she's gone back to back to back podiums since I think 2021. So a bit of a Paige-assance right now. The rust from her injury seems to be largely gone, and we can now count on her to be a solid pick, certainly in the top 5 each week. And you gotta assume she's got a win in her this year.
I would bet. I would bet.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like literally would bet money on that. If anyone wants to take me up on it, I bet she does.
Yeah.
I think so. She got that.
It's gonna be interesting now. The tour. Well, I'm not sure when she's heading over to Europe. I know this weekend she's heading out to New Brunswick in PEI for CWE, which is super sick. She's doing a clinic out in New Brunswick on Saturday, and then popping over to PEI for another clinic on Sunday. What a treat that is for players out in the Maritimes.
That's right, and I think I don't want to say for sure, but I do want to start rumors. I think there's a course going on out there, and I'm sure that's why she's heading on out there. So that's I think she's consulting a little bit and doing these clinics on her way, which is just amazing. I know one of our friends of the pod, Evan, was making a post there, and she is psyched because she's seen Chantel Thomas, and now she's gonna see Paige out there. It's pretty cool for New Brunswick right now.
Huge for maritime disc golf.
Yeah, it's just it's really cool what can happen, and this is just there's such a good relationship with her out there. They're reaching out, can you do this for us? Can you come help with this or whatever? And then the extent of that, like you hear that someone's coming up to play a course, like to play a tournament, reach out, see, maybe they'll do a clinic in your area. Like maybe you guys can make something work out. Like these pros are just so giving, and they're so psyched to be part of disc golf. So, reach out. Paige is wonderful. So I'm not surprised she's going and doing all that. Yeah.
Absolutely love that. Let's move on to our last topic for this episode. We're going to do a tour preview of the Ale Open. Colleen, take it away.
Oh, yeah. So the Ale Open, I am going to butcher some of this, but the Disc Golf Pro Tour is heading out to Europe. So exciting. I think a lot of Europe is psyched to have this going on and have some exposure out there and be part of the tour. So hopefully we'll get Canada in there too. But they're heading to Noliga, Noli in Sweden. I'm so sorry if that's wrong, but it's the number 2 rated course in the world. So it's a huge deal. It's going to be some amazing disc golf there. Definitely one to watch. The Ale Disc Golf Center for the 2025 Ale Open. So you definitely want to check that course out and look at that coverage. The event returns to the Pro Tour as an Elite Series event after it was a European Silver Series in 2024. So like we've switched over from that Silver Series to Elite events instead. The FPO division features an entirely European field, 35 competitors, including number 1 in the world, Kristen Latt, defending the Ale Open champion Silva Saranen, as well as Anakin Stein and Rachel Turton. I believe Rachel's from the UK as well, which is very exciting to have a little bit of a multicultural event out there. Sad to not see any Americans, but they'll be heading out there as well. In MPO, we have 111 competitors to make up the most European field, with some Americans sprinkled into the mix, most notably Ricky Wysocki, who seems to always play well in Europe. Defending champion Daniel Davidson is back to defend his title, but it will be tough against Nicholas Antela, and Maury Veldman and Ezra Alderhold, and a lot more MPOs out there. So it's going to be tough to get that back to back for Daniel. So you guys had some picks for this. What are the picks?
So Galen got to pick first this time, and I assure you, these are legit picks. He's going with, let's see here, 938 rated Felix Milton for MPO and 852 rated Rebecca Hoppe. These are bold picks. He left Kristen and Ricky on the field. I don't know what's going on with Galen, but let's see how these work out for him. It's no Tyler the Missile Bissell that Robbie picked a couple weeks ago, but these I'm sure these will be solid picks.
Yeah.
Robbie on the other hand went pure chalk and picked Kristen Lett and Ricky Wysocki. Absolutely boring picks, but we'll probably win with both of them. I'm on the other hand going with defending champ Silva Saarinen and Mauri Vilman. Mauri, he is absolutely one of the top European MPO players. It would be nice to see him play a little more stateside, but in Europe, I mean, this guy is a monster, and I think he's going to do extremely, extremely well. He took down Konopiste a couple weekends ago, and I have high hopes for him. But Ricky last year, he had an amazing European summer. So I don't know. It's going to be. I think it's going to definitely be a battle between Ricky and Mauri.
I definitely like your picks a lot more than Galen, because where I think you're picking some people who maybe wouldn't be the favorite, I feel like still have a shot. I don't know those people that Galen picked, which, in my...
Galen likes the underdog, so he picked the lowest rated players in both divisions.
Oh, that is... oh, that's so sweet.
It's a bold strategy. We'll see how it plays out for him.
Yeah. It's gonna be exciting. He'll be scrolling to see his team and stats. Maybe
scrolling.
Maybe they'll surprise him.
Who knows? Who knows?
That local legend that just comes out and sweeps.
It could happen. It could happen. One of the things I also love is that, we get to wake up in the morning and turn on the TV, turn on Disc Golf Network at like 7 a.m. and it's like hole 16 for FPO.
Yeah.
Don't need to wait around. I don't like this West Coast disc golf coverage where we got to wait till like 12:30 for FPO to start. We are so spoiled here in the Eastern time zone where we get like our time consideration extremely focused towards us because of where all the courses are. Yeah. So this is kind of going to Europe. It's kind of nice. Get to wake up, disc golf's on. Sweet.
I wonder how that's going to be for when they're at the World Games. If they're going to have...
I don't know what that... I can't imagine they're going to have live coverage of the World Games.
Well, I mean, they had someone out there filming for WIFDF.
Post-production.
If they can get a media pass in there, then maybe they will. I don't know. But yeah, and that's a lucrative contract. If you could get in there and do it for free, I bet you'd get all the media bumps you need with commercials and stuff like that, because that's a huge sell worldwide for just disc golfers. But for disc golfers, there's a lot of them that would want to watch it. So, but that's going to be interesting. It's going to be like, I don't know, looking at the rounds like in the afternoon for what they're playing the next day. They've already like started their match. And it's like until the day before for us.
It's going to be real weird. It's going to be wild for the players that are going over there to play. They're jumping from Europe and then popping over to China. They won't know where the hell they are, what time it is. The jet lag is going to be significant, and then to have to pop back back to North America and pick up more tournaments.
Well, no, I think they're not I think they're popping back. They're going to Europe potentially. Like I know Sophia and Thomas are going to one of the European tournaments, and then they go to World Games, and then I thought they come back for Pro Worlds. They go back to Europe. So they're
is it in between?
Yeah, it's in between two European tournaments.
Oh my God. So between European Disc Golf Festival and Worlds.
Yeah.
Oh man. They are going to be discombobulated.
Yeah. It's going to be wild. I don't even know, like, I'm sure it's just the week that they've planned it. It just happens to fall then, because they don't care about the disc golf world. This is so many sports in the World Games. Just happens to fall then. So, it'll be interesting, but a lot of players will potentially be out there. I'm assuming that means, they've already announced Missy and Gannon. So no doubt they're going to go to Europe for those bookend tournaments as well, because you might as well. So Sophia will be out there for sure, and Thomas. I don't know if they've announced a lot of other teams, but yeah, it's an exciting time. That 3 or 4 weeks is going to be really, really exciting, with players playing all over the world, basically, and maybe getting a little bit more media attention. This might boost our worlds a little bit, and maybe that'll get more media. So we'll see.
That would be fantastic. Absolutely. Also going to be fantastic. Before we sign off, tournaments going on this weekend. We've got the 5th annual Dreammaker Open up in Southampton near Sable Beach. Such a fun event. There's the Sully Cup out at Bronte, and Gaps Gambit up towards Sault Ste. Marie at Mountain View Disc Golf Course in Jocelyn Township. Shout out to all the players making their way up to Gaps Gambit. What a cool event. It's a long hike, and you're going to have a blast, as will everybody who is getting out to play a little disc golf this weekend. I'm going to be up at Dreammaker. Colleen, do you got anything going on this weekend?
Oh, I wish I was going to the Sully Cup. I'm so sad I'm not. But I'm going to the cottage. We're going to go do a games weekend. So this is a weird, very rare weekend off. I think I'm playing 20 tournaments this year. So one weekend is great to take off.
Things are heating up on the tournament calendar. Not a lot more to sign up for right now, but lots and lots to play. And so that is going to do us for this episode. Thank you very much, Colleen Mcinnes, for stepping up for my useless co-hosts, Robbie and Galen. I don't know what they're doing, but they may be off the show for good, and Colleen may be the new permanent co-host. I think that's a big improvement. Leave a comment if you agree, dear listener. But that's it for this episode of Miss Mando. Thank you very much for joining us for episode 36 of the show. We will be back probably next week, and in the meantime, we will see you out on the course.
Bye.